A child has been born to us in the traditional African society. We've sung the birth songs that welcomed them to the community. But before we can finish the whole process of connecting them to their community, we have to give them a name. This name was given during the naming ceremony, and during this ceremony, we sang the naming songs. A question you might have is, why didn't we give the child a name before they were born, just like we sometimes do currently? And the answer is, first, most of the time we didn't know the gender of the child. It is true that some skilled midwives could make very educated guesses, but most times we didn't know. And most times, even the parents didn't want to know before the child was born, because in the traditional African society, we had so many superstitions, and even hoping and looking forward to having a child was seen as something that could bring bad luck to the child. So we didn't want to name before we gave birth to them. We didn't even want to know the gender before the child was brought to term. Another reason is the name we give someone is so important because it carries a lot of weight, and we wanted to wait for the right time, for the right signs before we could attach a name to a child. Therefore, we spent some time after the child was born to think about the most appropriate name we could give the child. We also waited, and this was from the mother's side. She waited for a dream from any ancestor who wanted to claim the child. And if an ancestor, through a dream, expressed their interest in the child, then the child was named after that ancestor. A child could also be named according to the situation during birth. For instance, a mother could give birth on her way to the midwife. In the Luo community of Kenya, a child who is born on the way to the midwives or to the hospital is given an appropriate name. If it is a boy, we can call the boy Oyo, or if it is a girl, we can call the girl Ayo. Yo is the way or the road. So they are named according to the circumstances that surround their birth. We also name children according to the time of day when they are born. I was born early morning, so my middle name is Omondi. Mondo in the Luo community means to wake up early. So it simply means that I came out very, very early. Sometimes we name children according to the prevailing circumstances in the community at the time of their birth. An example, if someone is born during a great flood or when there is a great famine, then they can be named according to that situation. Children can also be named after the great heroes and heroines of the community. And this we do in the hope that they can also have the same characteristics in future. In some communities, we name children after animals. In most communities, these are ferocious wild animals, so that the child grows up knowing that they're fearless. But we have instances in some communities where we name children after domestic animals. Most of the time, they are domestic animals with very desirable features. An example, a bull. Sometimes we can monitor a child from the period of birth for a few days after, and we see the qualities that they have. If a child cries a lot, or maybe their complexion is a little bit different from the rest of the children, then we can give a name according to that kind of quality. As you've seen, we also name children after seasons. It could be a rainy season, it could be a drought, the planting season, and such like things. Names mean something. Names connect you to the ancestors. And this is why we sing these naming songs. The naming songs were to connect the child to the ancestors. The naming songs also show hope for the future of the child. The naming songs also remind the child of the expectations we have for them, even though they could not understand, but to believe that in their spirits we are connecting with their core. So the naming songs connected them to the ancestors. The naming songs welcomed them to the community. The naming songs pointed them towards a bright future. And the naming songs told them that this is who we are. Welcome to this great community. In the next video, we're going to look at the type of song we sang to lull the baby to sleep, the lullabies.